Oof,
Ready?
ready.
Okay.
Give me a second. So it's sitting.
Yeah, it's okay like this. We act as if the camera is not there.
Okay.
Anyway, okay. Welcome back to Convos on Campus. Today we are diving into the fascinating world of chemical engineering
Yeah.
and catalysis with a brilliant mind from the KAUST Catalysis Center. Our guest, our guest is Marina Chernova, a PhD candidate whose work is contributing to reactions that shape our world. Marina, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Finally, with you minutes. Hope it will work out.
Yeah, looking forward. It's a pleasure to have you. Your field, chemical engineering and specifically catalysis, is so fundamental to many processes that we rely on daily. Yet it might seem complex to some people. Um, we are excited to learn more about your journey and your research today. Let's start with the beginning of your journey. Engineering is a very demanding field, but it's very rewarding at the same time. Uh, who or what inspired you to choose engineering?
My parents inspired me because my mom is mechanical engineer, my dad is space engineer. So they both from small villages, and they came to Moscow and St. Petersburg to study engineering. And they never forced me, but I always had this example in front of my eyes. So I decided to choose engineering as well as my career.
Cool. Bo-
Yeah.
both parents are engineers.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay. Uh, so you come from Russia. You are Russian, right?
I'm from Russia. So I lived from 17 in Moscow. But before that, I was born and I lived in Korolev. It's 5 kilometers from Moscow. It's a center of Russian cosmonautics. Since my father was a space engineer, we lived there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you did your bachelor and master's in Russia?
I did it in Moscow.
Okay.
I did bachelor in chemical engineering and master in chemistry.
Chemistry. Okay. Then you came here to KAUST back when? Back in 22 or?
December 2022.
Okay.
PhD.
Nice. What was your first impression when you arrived to KAUST?
I really enjoy KAUST.
Oh.
It's beautiful. It's very comfortable to live here. A lot of facilities, and people are so interesting here and so diverse.
Oh.
People are so motivated. You learn a lot, and also you broaden in your mind and all the senses. So I enjoy KAUST, honestly.
Okay, okay. And you came here like you arrived, I guess, in August, right?
No, I came in December.
December. Also, the weather was a little bit nicer.
Yeah, it was. It was in Moscow -30, and here it was +30 when I came. So it was huge contrast.
Yeah, I mean, Russia is one of the coldest places in the world.
Yeah. It's also cold in Moscow. I would say that sometimes it's -30, but like 1 month in December or in January. But generally, whole year it's fine. It's completely fine, weather comfortable.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
And I guess you lived with your family in Russia, so it was, I would say, quite an easy transfer. Like you finished high school, you went to undergrad, you did your master's, and then you came here.
Yeah, actually, KAUST is my first experience abroad.
Abroad.
Yes, living and studying abroad.
Nice, nice. And you just came from a 2-month internship, or was it 4 months?
And now I just came from UK. 4 months I stayed there.
4 months, yeah.
Yeah.
How was your experience here? Yeah.
Also, I want to say sorry for my Welsh accent. I spent way too much time there. Yeah, I was in Wales. I was there for 4 months for an internship in Cardiff University. It was interesting experience. It's good to know what other fields, though it's very close to my research. It's also heterogeneous catalysis, but different expertise, different directions. So I learned things, but I prefer KAUST.
Okay. Uh, how would you explain your research very briefly to people with a background and people without a technical background in chemical engineering? How would you summarize what you're working on?
I will try to do it briefly,
Mm.
but it's rather.
Let's do the non-technical version first, and then
Okay.
we'll do the technical. How would you just, looking from the outside, if like if you meet someone, let's say a 5-year-old, how would you explain your work to her?
Okay. For 5 years old, I would say that there is such substances as catalysts, and which when you add it to reaction, you promote it. It's not participating in the reaction, but it allows you to accelerate the rate and get the products which you need. So there is heterogeneous catalysis, it's my field, homogeneous and heterogeneous catalysis, when the phase of the catalyst is different from the reagents. Usually it's solid. And heterogeneous catalysis is something which happens on the surface. So what I'm doing for my research, you have a big chunk of gold, like 1 kilogram, and you can use it as a catalyst. Or you can decrease the size and make nanoparticles. And you might think like, what would be better catalyst? The more gold you add, the better it works, right? But in reality, when you think of heterogeneous catalysis, it's something which happens on the surface. So it's important which atoms are exposed to the surface. And in a big chunk, you have bulk and you have surface. But majority of atoms are in the bulk, so they are not participating in catalysis. But when you decrease size, you make it small nanoparticles and even single atoms, you expose the atoms to the surface. They are uncoordinated, they have high energy. So in this way, you make a more active catalyst, and it's also atomic efficiency and it's also economically efficient.
So you optimize how catalysts work.
Yeah, I'm creating materials which would be more active.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I don't know, 5 years old will get it or not.
I mean, I would say you work on stuff that makes reactions go faster, right? Or more efficient.
Yes.
Mm, But
More selective, more efficient, to decrease the usage of noble metals, to make it economically efficient and sustainable.
right.
Yeah.
So you work on reactions that involve natural gas or oil, or which?
Yes, one of the direction is refining of natural gas and oil. So the feedstock which we are using, it's currently mostly produced from oil and gas. But it's also could be alternatives in the future where it could be bio-based, because I'm using the syngas, which is carbon monoxide and hydrogen, and it also could be produced from the bio-based materials.
Okay.
Yeah.
It touches on our lives, the, for everything, there's a chemical reaction that produces it, and there's a way to make it and have a reaction.
Exactly everything which surrounds us is done by chemistry.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a great foundation. Um, how would you rate your experience to be a woman in engineering? What has been some challenges, and what has been some rewarding aspects to being in this field as a woman?
Okay. I think it's challenging, more challenging than rewarding. Because it's always a minority of women in engineering. It's not only in KAUST, it's actually everywhere. It was better when I studied back in Moscow. In our bachelor, it was 50-50 ratio. Um, but in reality, you don't see female professors, you don't see female CEOs, you don't see female managers. So there is a lack of representatives, and that's why it's difficult to find a role model, and it's results in a thing that I think women always question themselves, and women tend to underestimate themselves in engineering. So it's also a challenge here, and also, I mean, opportunity on the other hand, but it's still male dominated field, and you don't know if you will get the career growth or not.
Mm-hmm. Back in Russia, there was no female professors.
While I studied, maybe 1 or 2.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's still a minority,
Yes.
even though the ratio was 50-50.
Yes, so
Good.
did you get bachelor, you get masters, or you even work in refinery, but you don't get to the top positions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how did you find it here in KAUST? Is it better, or?
I think the ratio is like only maybe 20% of women in chemical engineering, even less. So the ratio is worse than in Russia. But it's safe here, it's comfortable. So
Mm-hmm. Some you have a very, very specialized field, and a lot of specialized fields, they have a lot of misconceptions. What's one misconception people often have about your field? Perhaps about catalysis or chemical engineering in general?
mm, I think that now a common misconception is green chemistry and green economics, because people think that if it's based on fossil fuels, it's always something scary and something bad. And if it's bio-based feedstock, then it will be so green and sustainable. And I think it's a wrong perception, because uh, the main problem here about green economics and fossil fuels is the waste, how effectively you convert your feedstock. So I think the direction we should go into is how to make this process more efficient, how to make selective catalyst, how to make use of the feedstock, and how to regenerate the waste, how to minimize, how to do waste treatment. Meanwhile, even if you use biomass, it doesn't mean that it's a green process, because I worked a lot in bachelor and masters with some molecules which are produced from glucose. And actually, these molecules, they contain a lot of oxygen, nitrogen, they have unsaturated bonds, so they are very reactive. And it's very difficult to produce the desired products. So I would say that you will produce more waste. And it's also not so much energy efficient compared to hydrocarbons, which we get from fossil fuels.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are pro oil fuel?
I think that should be the diversification. You have to have different sources of the energy. Otherwise, it's not going to work. You cannot rely on the fossil fuels, and you cannot rely on the green economics.
But you are in for using fuel more efficiently, right?
Yes, I am working on that, and I think it's very important nowadays. I see that people more involved in the green economics, and this research should be done, obviously. But that's what I see. They make it priority, and they, for example, shut down all the refinery based on fossil fuels, which is not the solution of the problem at all. So I think that we should, like me personally, what would be my contribution? I would make this process more efficient. But I also worked in green chemistry based on bio resources.
Okay, okay. So you did work on the green side.
Yes,
Right.
my dark past.
Your what?
Dark past
Ah, your dark past. Yeah. Your green past.
before coming to Saudi.
Hmm. Uh, that's interesting. Because how would you compare for someone who doesn't know anything about catalysis and the stuff that you do? Um, so doing the reaction without your catalysis and with it, what's the difference in percentage in increase in output, or what's the benefit?
It's a good question. I didn't mention that. So the idea about catalysis is that you have your reagents, you have your products, and you have energy barrier to produce your products. And what's the main purpose of the catalyst is to decrease this energy barrier. So some reactions without catalyst, they don't proceed at all. So you need to add catalyst if you want to get it.
Make the reaction.
Yes. And also, depending on the catalyst, you can change the pathway of the reaction. You can produce different products. Also, catalyst would increase the selectivity. It will increase productivity. So majority of the industrial projects processes, they are catalytic.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how much would you say is so you study it theoretically, right? How much would you say theoretically is the percent increase if you use your method, or if you use the catalysis that you make? How much percentage are we gaining theoretically if we optimize? Are we increasing by 50%? Are we increasing by 100%? How much benefit are we talking about?
You compare non-catalytic process and catalytic, or you compare my technology for the catalysts?
I'm comparing your current technology with currently what's being used in the market. How, يعني, how much does your method or your research is aiming to enhance, or how much is it aiming to improve? Is it like 10%? How much are we talking with that?
So, for example, I'm working on noble metals in zeolites. And for example, if you just deposit this metal on the surface, you will get its reaction of hydroformylation, propylene to butyraldehyde. So if you will use this catalyst, you will get 50% yield of the butyraldehyde. But if you will do what we are doing, you will get 99%.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're converting all the raw material into the output.
To desired product, very selective with a minimal waste.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's almost like you have 1%.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Okay. Research is not just about serious experiments. There are often memorable moments. Can you share any funny or particular memorable experience you had during your research journey?
Yeah. It happened in Cardiff when I was recently. So one day I just was passing by the chair of my colleague, and he said, "Marina, come here. I want you to honor the memory of the Professor Goodman." And I was confused. Who is the Professor Goodman? He said, how you might not know, he's a very famous professor in the CO2 conversion. There is a Goodman process based on the copper catalyst, and this is the Professor Goodman who created it. He is from Cardiff University, but unfortunately he passed away. So we have this portrait here, we have this metallic box with his ashes. And he said that now the last wish of the Professor Goodman was to test his ashes as a catalyst for the Goodman process. And now they are testing it, and they...
Wow. So you were there for that reaction center. That's funny.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
And he said that the ashes actually works better than the copper catalyst. So it's very good since it's aligning with the green chemistry theory. Now it's very sustainable process. You can use ashes as a catalyst, and it will be more effective than noble metals and metal-based catalysts. I was so confused because it's different culture, and probably it's okay to make this kind of joke. In some cultures people laugh on death, and in some cultures it's taboo. But it turned out it was a joke. He just had this metallic box with nothing, and he just decided to make a joke that it's ashes of the professor. And
But
after...
it was the actual ashes, right?
No,
No,
there was no ashes. It was empty box.
it was a complete joke.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And after that, after this story, I was testing my catalyst in the CO2 hydrogenation. And another girl came and asked to test her catalyst, and she said that it's coffee beans, catalyst based on the coffee beans. And after this story, I wasn't already surprised to anything, and I was like, okay, coffee beans, if you want to use coffee beans as a catalyst, why not? Like, for your consideration, it's a very bad idea because it's high temperatures, high pressures, because it contains oil. You shouldn't add anything like this in a reactor.
Wow.
Yes.
A lot of crazy stuff is happening.
We've got to finish.
Cardiff University.
And she said this, and we decided to test. So we load these coffee beans, and then we were pressurizing the reactor, and then we were increasing the temperature. And one of the side products of this reaction is water. So when we were staying there with a postdoc and thinking like, okay, we took the coffee beans, we heat them, we pressurized them, and we produce water. So basically, this reactor is just very expensive coffee machine.
Wow. It's like an accidental discovery. Wow. Is the coffee good at least?
I wouldn't recommend it, really, but just a lot of green chemistry which sometimes doesn't make sense. So you cannot actually define if it's a joke or not.
Okay. Well, what do you mean by green chemistry?
So when you use biomaterials,
We use
yeah,
something like sustainable or
yeah.
Mhm. Interesting. Looking forward to hear about Cardiff University in the news. It's easy to see chemical engineers as something, or it's easy to see chemical engineering as something that happens only in labs and in plants. Um, but it's all around us, as we said.
Yeah.
Uh, how can people apply chemical engineering knowledge or perhaps the principles of catalysis you work with in everyday life?
Um, yeah. I think just it's good to have general chemistry knowledge in everyday life because you anyway contact with chemicals on the like kitchen or wherever. So it's just good to be educated at least at school level. But if you will think of that more wider, I would say that, yeah, for example, this think about catalysis, that you have your reagents, you have your products, and there are several pathways energetically, which would convert the reagents to the products. And it will be always the minimal energy spent, always. And it's a basic law of the nature. All systems want to minimize their energy spent. It's related to any field, like the electrons in the current would go through the cable with the less resistance.
Nice.
Or you lay on a sofa because you don't want to spend energy. And I think it's easy to understand and just accept that we are lazy from our nature.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, for example, from thermodynamics, is that all energy it's not produced, it's not dissipated, it's converted to other source of energy.
Right.
So, for example, when you lighten the reagents, the reaction, and you don't see the outcome, you should either convert it or you should heat them or you should produce some phase change. So if nothing happens, it means that you don't look carefully. Energy just don't disappear. It transfers to another source of energy. And I think that it could be applied in the everyday life in the sense that all actions have consequences. Maybe it's also similar to the karma idea that there is no energy loss in the universe. It's just converted. So all your actions in the end will have some outcome.
Mm-hmm. Do you uh, do you practice your chemical engineering knowledge every day? Like when you look at products or when you find something to like, a cream or something to eat, do you look at the
Okay. Yeah,
chemical
also.
part of it? Yeah.
Yes, it's also the thing. I'm a big fan of the skincare. So for me, since I have this background, I know what's the composition and I can understand what's going to be applicable, what I can buy, what I shouldn't spend money on. For example, there is um, hyaluronic acid and they often add it in the creams, but it's too big to penetrate the cells. So it's a marketing trick. But if you know chemistry, you know that it doesn't worth spending money on that.
What's the name? Like it's a name of product?
Hyaluronic acid, like a
Oh,
compound.
it's a compound.
Yeah.
Mm. What do you advise people to stay away from? Something that's very commonly used, but it's actually not good for your body to eat or to use as a cosmetic thing.
Oh, it's actually another insight from the chemistry that everything is a poison in certain concentration.
Oh,
Absolutely.
clarify that. Okay.
Like if you add a little bit salt, it's useful for your health. But if you eat a lot of salt, you will die.
Balance, you mean like
Yeah.
a limit.
Yes, everything at certain concentration will be a poison.
But what is something that you found or you saw, then you warned your friends, like don't use that product or something? Is there something that you found that falls in that category? It's fine if you don't have anything in mind, but it will be interesting to get the opinion of someone who knows a lot about this field to maybe for the audience to benefit.
No, actually, just be careful about the composition and think twice what's the concentration of the things.
So they should look up for each compound what's the daily limit for
For each compound, it's individual.
individual. Yeah.
Yes.
So they have to look at the suggested limit by the physicians or doctors and
Yeah.
okay. All right. Thank you for sharing that. Let's jump into more something more a little bit outside of academia. Juggling PhD requires immense dedication and efficiency. What is your productivity hack? What helps you stay focused and get things done?
Okay. I think this concept, which I told you, that we want to spend as less energy as possible.
Minimizing the energy spent.
Yes, yes. I think it's very useful because you should just accept that and live with that and understand that you shouldn't resist. You should just understand, okay, from my nature, I don't want to spend energy. So instead of forcing yourself, blaming yourself, you just need to find a secondary motivation. For example, if you don't want to go to the gym because you feel lazy or tired, you just need to find some external motivation for that. For example, you like someone in the gym. So that's the thing which give you motivation. Or you buy a beautiful gym set and you wear it and you will have the motivation to go. And it's related to absolutely any action in your life. You want to learn language, but you are too lazy to do that. So you should follow some actor who is speaking this language. And I'm sure 100% when you will start checking him, you will see that you will find the motivation to go and translate what he just said. Because you won't go to the book, but you will go and check what someone whom you like is saying.
Good.
Yeah.
Right. But what is your favorite productivity hack? How do you motivate yourself to do PhD? Or to stay motivated every day? How would you?
Yeah, it was first thing, but second, which I would apply. I don't know how healthy this approach is, but personally, it works for me. For example, you don't feel motivated to do your PhD. You want to watch series overnight. So what I would recommend, just to watch it. To watch it until you feel like vomiting. Watch it all night. You will feel tired. You will have this bad association in your mind that it's so exhausting to watch this series all night. So next day, you're not gonna watch it.
Hmm. Cool. You follow this principle?
I think that for me, it works 100%. In diet, in work, in discipline, I'm always doing this because I think I'm rather impulsive. When I have something in mind, I want to do it immediately. So I would just do it to do it in the extra amount. If you want to eat something sweet, just eat a lot. And then you will just have this bad memory that's disgusting.
Hmm. Yeah. I kind of do the same thing if I'm trying to procrastinate
Yeah.
or if I'm being lazy. I go in a mode where I play a certain video game until I'm bored of it completely.
Yeah.
Until I completely burn myself, and then I look at myself and then I think, okay, it's done. خلاص. What's next? And then I get back to work.
Yes,
Um,
it's working, you see?
It works. Yeah. So that's it. That's what that's what you do when you want to hack productivity, is do the thing until you're bored and then get back to.
Yeah, also maybe to get distracted.
Mm.
If you worry about something or stressed, just go and work. It's like work therapy.
Work therapy.
Yeah.
What is that?
When you work and you concentrate on what you're doing, you don't think about the problems which bothers you outside of work.
Okay, so your work is the thing that you are the thing that's calming you down, and like you meditate on it. Yeah, I guess if your work is mainly at a desk reading papers and writing, I guess you can apply that. But if your work is like, construction site, I hardly think that you'll find that meditate.
Yeah, but all this manual work is so calming. You doing synthesis of the catalyst, you doing the catalytic testing, you're just fully involved in the process. You don't think about anything. So
Also, like when you are in the lab doing an experiment, do you like put music on and then you are in the zone? What do you do?
just concentrate on work. It's a
So,
meditation.
okay. Sometimes I play some music in my headphones when I'm focusing on something, when I'm assembling my robot or something. I get in the zone.
Okay, it's working.
Yeah, but time passes by faster.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's jump into a more reflective question. If you weren't in research, what career would you be in? And looking forward, what is your ultimate career goal? What do you see yourself as a professionally in the future? What kind of purpose drives you in your work? Where do you see yourself? What's the purpose? Like, what keeps you motivated to do all this work?
It's different questions. Two different questions.
So like, what's motivating you to uh, push through this career, and what's your end goal? So it is two questions. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's start with the motivation, and then let's see what's the end goal of your career. What do you think to be? Where do you want to be?
Okay. I think I like what I'm doing. And also, we are kind of privileged since we're doing research. It gives you a big meaning of yourself because you're solving some global problem. Of course, you bring some small contribution, but I think it's very calming and satisfactory to think that you are actually working on something very important.
Mm-hmm.
So, like in my field, it will be sustainability, it would be the decrease of the emission, it would be production of chemicals which would be used in pharmaceuticals, in plastics. So you have like a big goal and you professionally feel satisfied that you're doing something meaningful.
Right. You are contributing to a higher purpose. Let's say you are improving nature. You are improving people's lives, saving people's lives, maybe improving the planet. Very noble causes and very motivating indeed. Uh, okay, but what about where do you see yourself professionally? Do you see yourself as a professor? Do you see yourself in the industry? Where do you see yourself?
Yeah, I wish I will work in the research development department of the company. I want to see application of my research. I want to do something which is in short term applicable. Yeah.
Okay, so your work for R&D for companies like in the energy sector, right?
Yeah. In refinery, in catalysis production.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, wish you the best to that.
Thank you.
Um, it's clear that you are very passionate about making an impact and making a difference, which is really fascinating to see. Um, let's go into a more fun question. If your life had a background music track, what song would be playing right now? Or generally, what's the tone? Uh,
Um, we have one Soviet movie. It's a comedy. And they have a very nice track, which I like. It's just funny song, but I think it has such a deep meaning. And the movie is amazing. It's about a guy who went for sauna for the New Year Eve, and he get drunk and wake up in a different city.
hmm.
Yes.
So he was just going for sauna,
Yeah.
and then he woke up in a different city.
Yes.
Okay.
And he woke up there, and he have to celebrate New Year with completely different people he didn't know. And it's nice story. It's very funny movie. But there is a song there which says that if you never had home, you will never lose it. If you never had dog, it will never be poisoned. If you never had wife, she will never leave you. If you never lived, you will never die. So I really like this song. I like the meaning. And if it would be applicable to my life, I would say that if you never try, you will never fail, right? If you do something, there is always big chance that you will fail. If you never had friends, you will never be betrayed. If you never loved, you will never be heartbroken. So I think if you look through perspective of the life, it's always about gaining something and losing something, but it's absolutely normal because it's life
And because the risk is involved in anything you do,
in
right?
anything you do. And it's risk not to take a risk as well,
Right.
just to stay on the place.
I like the comfort zone.
Yeah.
Just stay within a certain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting way to put it. You know, we have all these sayings from all different cultures, but they all share the same meaning somehow. When
You
you
have it in Arabic?
uh, yeah, like it's like if you don't go after what you like or what you want to do, you will never achieve it. Like things are not gonna happen from nature on its own. You have to have that passion and perseverance to go through and try.
It's true.
And failure is part of everything. But yeah, I mean, currently with the social media, people do not show their failures, right? People mostly share the success. So some people think that, oh, they're lucky or they are gifted. But and honestly, everyone who succeeded has worked really hard on themselves.
I think everyone who succeeded, they failed a lot.
They failed a lot.
Because like for me, if there is opportunity to fail, I always fail. It's the story of my life because I didn't get for the bachelor in the university where I wanted to study. I didn't get for the masters in the university because I failed the exam. I wanted to go for PhD to Germany and I was already accepted, but I didn't get the visa. And here in KAUST, my first project failed. Then I failed the qualifying exam. And this year I was dismissed.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, a lot of roadblocks or a lot of challenges that happen. People think, oh, she's just doing, PhD. She's like, her life is perfect and easy. Yeah, nothing is easy. I did also fail my qualification exam.
oh,
Yeah.
congratulations.
This thanks you for joining me on the club. And but yeah, it's filled with challenges and it's not a clear road. You start with a project and experiments. They're very tough, right? I wish there was a journal or a body that handles failures, failed experiments, or because all you document is success.
Yes, it's also a problem. But also you don't learn from the success. You get the results. What will you learn from that? Nothing.
It happened, خلاص.
Yes, yes. But when you fail, you have to overcome and you have to be creative. You need to solve problems. That's how you learn.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah. People think they think that people's lives are perfect, and there should be a misconception that should be clarified that we go through a lot of failures ourselves.
And I think it's brave to admit it.
Yeah.
To come and say, yes, I'm here just because I had a lot of bad experience previously, but I didn't stop. I didn't stop trying. And that's why I'm here now.
Yeah. I remember hearing a saying, I'm not sure about the exact words, but it was talking about what matters is how you fail and how you come back after failure.
Yes.
Is not really why you failed, or just keep on pondering about why you failed and just thinking about why you failed. The key point is to learn and move on.
I agree 100%.
Cool. If your personality was a meme, which one would it be?
Have you seen there's a lot of videos of the Killian Murphy? that he's constantly showing all this expression on his face. Like, he's not even pretending to be nice. I'm the same person. Oh, Melania Trump. We even have such saying like Slavic face. It means that everything is written on your face. You are polite, but you don't pretend. If you don't like person, you don't show like the attitudes, you don't lie. You don't use emotions to misguide people. We are very honest.
You don't manipulate people, is what you're saying. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a, I guess it's a known thing, or it's a known stereotype about Russians, is that they are very straightforward.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Killian Murphy, huh?
For me, yes, I would say.
Okay. Uh, how is it like working in the lab? Is it like a very busy schedule? Like do you work from 9 to 5? How's your working schedule? How is your daily routine looking like?
In our lab, it's mandatory to work from 9 to 5, so you have to be there. But in general, um, certain things are automated, so you don't need to be around the reactor during the reaction. But you need to do all the setting up, you need to do all the synthesis, you need to do all the data processing. So I would say it's for chemists, we are very flexible that you adjust your life, your working day to reaction. So if reaction,
Experiments.
yeah, if reaction goes 12 hours, you have 12 hours working day. Yes, okay, you can leave at certain point, but you're dependent on that. So for me, it's just even now my reaction is running. We will
Right.
finish, I will go. So I'm working very efficiently, multitasking
Oh, that's cool. Okay. So you have something in the oven now cooking?
in the reactor,
What do
in
you have?
our reactor. So I'm doing pretreatment of the catalyst, and then I will run reaction tomorrow. We'll produce some more butyraldehyde.
Some what?
Butyraldehyde, that's what
Toothbrush.
I'm doing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool. Well, Marina, it has been absolutely enlightening and enjoyable conversation. Thank you for joining me in the podcast, and to our listeners, I hope you had uh, enjoyed your time into this deep dive into the chemical world with Marina. If you want to learn more about the work happening at KAUST Catalysis Center, be sure to check out their website or maybe contact Marina. And that's all for the episode today. Uh, and join us for the next time. Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Thank,
Thank you.
thank you, Marina.
Whew,
Okay. Cool.
that's good.
Was a quick one. Think an hour?